KHEA Radio. It's just after 9 o'clock. My name is Gardy. It's Kickstart, and I have Dr. Aaron Chapa with Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center in studio. I'm excited because there's a lot of supplements that are on the table. They're on the desk in front of us. There's also a book, and there's also Dr. Chapa. I'm going to kick this on the FM. Feel free to share this out, and we're going to have some fun today. Good morning. This is KHEA. It's Kickstart. My name's Gardy. It's 9:03 on a Tuesday. That means Dr. Aaron Chapa with Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center in beautiful Leak City is in studio. Speaking of Leak City, Dr. Chapa, did you see that Kelly's had a fire last night?
I did. I saw that this morning, and how sad. It's, you don't ever want to see small businesses or businesses in general or city, landmarks have tragedy. And just pray that nobody was hurt and all is well. And pray that they're able to get that remedied and get back up and moving in a more amazing way than ever. So like what, we always say that are believers that, what the devil means for evil, God will turn around for good, and something better will come of it. And so our prayers go out to those folks for sure.
Yes. And I'm excited to have you here. It's February.
It is. It's a great month. And I know that, we've got love is in the air. We got Heart Month at Living Well. We are very much interested in taking advantage of the Heart Month, the Love Month, the Care for Thyest Hearteth, because your heart beats 100,000 times a day, Gardy. Now, the question is, when I'm out lecturing or talking with different people in office, out of the office, people will say things to me like, "Oh, I've got arrhythmias, or I've got palpitations, or I have, deep sternal chest pains. Yeah, I have things going on in my chest." I'm like, "Whoa, you're only like 30. You know what I mean? This isn't good. You're 20. What? 7? Oh, man." And so we're finding that heart issues are not just for the middle-aged. Heart issues are not the thing that are just affecting the elderly. It's affecting the younger population, the younger generations. We're seeing athletes drop dead of heart issues. We're seeing heart is still, contrary to COVID, belief, heart disease is still the leading number one cause of death in the country. So heart issues are still a major contributing factor to lifespan, quality of life, functionality, and heart issues are something that are really not a disease of prescriptive blood pressure medications or high cholesterol medications, but a malnutrition problem. You see, your heart gets first dibs on all nutrition, and if you are somebody that struggles with any of the symptoms just listed, heart palpitations or arrhythmias, you've been diagnosed with some sort of anxiety that causes your chest pain or anxiousness in your chest. These are signs that you have nutritional deficiency, and we want to make sure that we are doing everything we can do to support you through the process of caring for and loving on the heart. You should never know that you have a heart. That's an interesting thought. We're only talking about the heart right now so that you're aware of it, but you should not know that you have a heart. No one listening to my words should know that their heart is in their chest beating 100,000 times a day. It does it in the quiet, peaceful space for which God has carved it to be. And your heart, if you feel tension, deep sternal chest pain, palpitations, arrhythmias, any type of dysregulatory activity in your chest, shortness of breath, wheezing, air hunger, excessive yawning, these are indicators, symptom patterns, if you will, that something is going on in your body that should warrant further investigation. And of course, we can look at your standard blood panel and look at your cholesterol, your HDL, your LDL. We can look at your liver enzymes and see inflammation. We can look at homocysteine and see what type of cardiovascular inflammatory responses are there. We can look at the overall inflammatory fire markers such as C-reactive protein and measure out insulin and blood sugar to see what's going on in the realm of the heart. But oftentimes, because the heart gets first dibs on all nutrition, first dibs. It eats first. You don't see a lot of these things show up on the blood panels until it's way advanced. And it goes back to what Living Well has always said, that what I've always believed is that in the beginning, disease is hard to recognize, but it's easy to fix. It's a simple nourishing issue. If we can get the nourishment back up, the nutritional demands back in check, all of a sudden the heart begins to fire and function like God created it to function. It beats 100,000 times a day in a rhythmic pattern that is at the perfect rate and the perfect intensity, time and time again. For the third of your life that it is beating, your heart is completely on vacation, completely at rest, completely chill for 2/3 of your life. That is fascinating. So your heart does nothing 2/3 of the time, and it works like a banshee 1/3 of the time. That's what we want to see happen. And when it does that in that synchronicity pattern, all of a sudden, you see no issues with the heart. Isn't that good news? And that's what we're trying to get people to realize, is that if you took a month and we just, blame Heart Month, February, Valentine's Day, Love Month, to take care of the heart. Because you see, the heart is just it's just so versatile. It's so fascinating. A lot of the Royal Lee found back in the 30s that there are glial cells, there are life-giving cells, immune-marking cells. He didn't call them that then, but he said that a lot of people that struggle with inflammatory conditions of the heart had immune activation. Their immune system of the heart, these glial cells, are active. There's over 1 billion of these little glial cells just in and around the heart. And I said billion. That's a lot. And so when you look at what's happening, these glial cells are your immune markers for better heart function, and your heart has an immune system. Well, if you think about it being kind of the lifeblood, and we've talked about it in previous programs, where the blood has to stay stable. The blood has to stay at the right pH. It has to, because if it deviates off, it becomes too acidic, there's disease. If it comes too alkaline, there's disease. The heart is so stable, it has built-in buffering systems from your kidneys, your GI tract, your lungs, your skin, all your oral orifices, your liver, to balance out the pH of the blood. That in and of itself should tell you that there is, if you will, the queen bee. That's the king or a queen ant that is doing its due diligence to protect itself. The heart will survive first. And so if we can feed the right nutrients in, all of a sudden the heart begins to function and fire off in a way that it takes what it needs from other tissues to protect itself. Immunologically, that immune alliance surrounds the heart to protect it from inflammatory invasion. And that inflammatory invasion could be from high levels of sugar, high levels of insulin, or high levels of cholesterol, and when it gets to that point. And not that cholesterol is necessarily in and of itself bad. I don't want to even go to that point. That has been debunked. It is not the problem by any stretch of the imagination. It is just it's a facet. We're listening to and we're watching all aspects of heart function, but we recognize that the heart just needs a little bit of love because it gets first dibs on all nutrition. So I brought some of our fun heart products that we're promoting for the month, and it's exciting. I think we have a class coming up talking about heart sound, the rhythms, the rate, the tone of the heart. The more people understand that there are tools, like I kind of thought today's talk would be built around how to live healthy in the year 2022. There's so many people that have an opinion on what to do, and I want to be at our office a resource coach helping you interpret the signs and symptoms that your body is giving you every moment of every day. Things like sleep patterns. Do you toss and turn during the night? Do you have wicked, wild, bizarre, funky, exotic dreams? Are you boiling hot, kicking covers off, sweating in a pool of sweat? That happens. Those are indicators that something's going awry. Is it that you wake up feeling more tired than you went to bed? Is it that you have the palpitations we just talked about with the heart? Do we feel like when we eat breakfast we get nauseous and we like, oh, I don't want to eat breakfast? Oh no, when breakfast is the most important meal of the day, we've got to figure out why your body is confused. What are you doing that's allowing your body to malfunction, so to speak? Because that's how we create the no limits in our lives. That's how we, create the creativity, and we can push forward and do more, is to just take a few ideas and apply them. Body temperature, looking at your body temp first thing in the morning, during the mid-afternoon, and in the evening. Where's your body temperature at? If your body temperature is too low, that's an indicator that your thyroid is malfunctioning. And we can literally just bump up your minerals, give you a little bit of iodine. We can feed your thyroid and help your body temperature come up, because that means your body temperature is that your thyroid is more active and functioning like it's supposed to. You don't want to be too hot, and that means the system's running on overload, but you definitely don't want to be underperforming either, because who wants to be underperforming? You know what I mean? So I thought, we would talk about, there's so many tools, whether it's blood work, whether it's, temperature tests, pH testing, stress testing, whether it's our heart sound testing. There's so many tools that we can use. We just got to be regularly evaluating things about you and taking time to look at these individual parts. You don't have to do it all in a day, all in a month. It doesn't really do a whole lot of good to do that, because realistically, you're probably not going to be able to address everything that's wrong in all the departments. But you can definitely maintenance what needs to be maintained as time goes. And so if we take the year and we break it up into the 12 months that it is, we can take a month and focus on different facets of your temple. And that's what we did last month in January, going into detox. In February, we're going into the cardiovascular section of what we're doing. And every month we'll keep building on better health practice and better health principle. And so we have a few things out here. I couldn't, go without saying how important it is that when you're dealing with having a healthy, happy heart, you want to make sure that you have healthy amounts of fish oil coming into your body. We have an imbalance in this country where we have too many omega-6 to omega-3 and 9 ratio issues, meaning we're inflamed. The omega-6 family, because of the source for which we get it, the processed garbage foods, the fake foods, let me back up, the processed garbage fats that is in the fake foods, that, let's just go ahead and take it one step further, that leads to make-believe health, because we eat make-believe food, creates a heat stress on our body. And that heat stress is basically due to friction, because we're using the wrong lubricant. The omega-6s, at the ratio that we're putting them in, should be 6-1. We're seeing things like 30-1, meaning way too much out of balance in the omega-6 department, and not enough of the omega-3s, not enough of the omega-9s, these anti-inflammatory markers. So I'll show pictures to people about when you're dominant in the omega-6 arena, you're more prone to brain fog, more prone to headaches, more prone to joint inflammation. You're not able to squat down and tie your shoes, or pull your foot up onto your knee to tie your shoe. You're not able to exercise like you would want because your knees are feeling like garbage. I see this all too often. And people say, oh, just adjust it out. Well, that's great, except if the adjustment isn't just the only part of the problem. Yes, you can have a twist. Yes, you can have a tweak. Yes, there could be something going on structurally, but oftentimes knee issues are an indication of liver inflammation, toxicity. And so that means that the system has got too much trash or acid-like waste that's creating stress in the cardiovascular system, in the endocrine system, in the inflammation reduction system, in your detox pathways, and your body needs to balance out the ratio of omega-6 and omega-9s and omega-3s, we use fish oil to do that. Fish oil, also amazing, has the ability to touch every tissue, every cell, every organ in your body. We do an omega quant test in the office where we can do a little finger prick test, and it's very effective in showing us the ratios in the fire, how many firefighters are in your body, ready, to go out on call when the call comes in, right? I mean, if I've got something that comes up, maybe, I go through a major stressful event. Maybe there's something that put a scare into me. Maybe I'm majorly injured. Something happens physically, biochemically, mentally, emotionally that creates some level of inflammatory stress. If I'm able to take things like fish oil, it's the simplest, most effective way to keep inflammation down. So Omega Force is got to be a go-to. And so the wonderful thing about this product is you don't need a whole lot. You don't need like 1 or 2 a day in order to maximize your daily onslaught of anti-inflammation support. Now, with this product, we have some people that come in, they're so inflamed, Gardy, that we've got to be a little bit more aggressive. We got to pull out a second fire truck or a third fire truck. And that's okay because it's not forever. But you got to remember, there's time and place. How did you get into the boat that you're in? And if you can appreciate that maybe through a little bit of years of neglect, knowingly and unknowingly, bad choices and good choices, you kind of fall off the wagon from time to time. You've got to get in there and you've got to overhaul the system. Every home has maintenance that has to be done and is required. Even a home that's not lived in. I mean, anything that's out there in the elements has maintenance required. But when your body and your heart is beating 100,000 times a day, do you think that might need a little bit of TLC?
Definitely.
Yeah, it sure does. So Omega Force, absolutely amazing product, part of the Heart Protocol Month. Love this product. Probably the second most powerful thing on this table. I mean, not to take it, away from any of these products that we've chosen. We just can't choose them all. But if I had to go with, just a few of my key favorites that, my kids take every day, that when they walk past, I grab them. Hey, come here. I even give this next one, Cataplex B Core, to my dogs. And interesting, when we've seen veterinarians that run heart sound tests on dogs. We've seen dogs that have had, blood disorder, cardiovascular markers high. We've seen them have strokes and have mini strokes and different challenges. We've been able to give them Cataplex B Core and see their little bodies respond inside of 15, 20 minutes. So we've gone to seminars, and they're running heart sound tests on a human, many humans, lots of humans. And they're walking around, and these are doctors in the field, clinical nutritionists that, again, you don't know that your heart is in there doing that fine work that it does 100,000 times a day. But yet we do a test, the heart sound. We listen to the valves, the mitral valve, the tricuspid valve, the aortic valve, the pulmonic valve, and we hear those lub-dub, lub-dub, lub-dub. We hear the beat. It's like an earthquake detector. It picks up on movement patterns in the heart, the vibrational impact of the heart. It can hear the heart's movement, and we can see the efficiency of the valves opening and closing, opening and closing. And we can see it in the right rate, the right rhythm, and the right tone, and we can figure out if a person has B vitamin deficiencies or mineral deficiencies. And in this case, the Cataplex B Core helps to regulate the rate and rhythm of the heart, and we can help to maximize how effective those beats are coming in, how effective the blood release factors from these the chambers of the heart that go out to surrounding tissues. The Cataplex B Core is just food. It's primarily, one of its major ingredients is vitamin B4. And it's unfortunate. A lot of people are deficient in B vitamins. One, because when you look at a label, it's fortified with B vitamins, meaning they have synthetically added fake B vitamins to the product in hopes that the body won't be able to tell the difference between what is real and what is fake. Well, what if I could get real nutrients in and give you real results? This is why we choose and vet out products that we know do the work that they scientifically have been proven to do. 97.5% of all the supplements purchased on the market today are either not safe or not effective. That is a painful reality because it makes it very difficult when most people out there today are taking some kind of multivitamin or some sort of fish oil, or they're doing some sort of B vitamin, they're taking some kind of zinc, they're doing some sort of immune protocol, but 97.5% of the products out there are either not safe or not effective. That means 2.5% are effective and are safe, and we want to make sure that we're vetting out and utilizing and resourcing the best of the best.
That's crazy, 97.5%.
And it's allowed.
How and why?
Well, they always say follow the money, and in this case, that's what it's about. Is people are more interested in the bottom line. There is not a lot of regulation, good and bad. When you put regulation on it, you get fortification, you get refining, you get, it's got to meet these certain criteria. You see, you can't regulate nature. You can't regulate what God put into the soil because we as humans aren't smart enough to figure it out. So we think that what we do figure out, we need to mandate across the globe. Well, guess what? Mandating things doesn't work. That's not how the game is played on a lot of fronts. And so what happens is I'm still a big proponent and believer that we do not need mass regulation on food-based products, because the minute you start mandating and regulating the label of food, now all of a sudden you're going to wind up creating deficiency. This is what Linus Pauling even discovered with vitamin C. He could not cure scurvy with vitamin C in the form of ascorbic acid, for which at the time is the science form of what we call vitamin C. Well, guess what? Vitamin C is not ascorbic acid. Ascorbic acid is a part of the vitamin C complex, but ascorbic acid is not vitamin C. What the limeys or the sailors coming across from Europe discovered is that they had limes on the boat. They could prevent blood disorders. They could prevent heart issues. They could prevent the signs and symptoms that scurvy shows up in. And so we still have scurvy-like symptoms today. If you see varicose veins, if you have blood vessels around the nose, if you you have any type of heart issue, if these are indicators that scurvy is still apparent and real in your world. And ascorbic acid is being consumed at 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 milligrams and above. Well, that's not good because ascorbic acid is not vitamin C. Ascorbic acid will not cure scurvy. You've got to take the whole complex, which is made up of vitamins P, K, and J, cofactors, tyrosinase, bioflavonoids, flavonoids, and ascorbic acid, and all the little constituent factors that man hasn't figured out how to extrapolate, identify, or name. We know it's there. We see something, but we can't identify it. We don't know how to tap into it. See, there's beauty in God's creation. And as cool as science is, it's still very limited. It's still very relatively new. Well, that goes to vitamin E, which we know is really anti-inflammatory, which is very useful in maximizing the pituitary, the endocrine connection to the cardiovascular system, your heart. The B vitamins, the making sure that we're not putting coal tar derivatives into your body and calling that, oh, you're getting your daily dose of B vitamins, but you're getting basically, resourced coal tar packaged up in a pill. I mean, is it a B vitamin? Yes, because it's and it's elemental. It models the skeleton of, but it's missing the complex. So the cataplex B core is a bunch of food packed into the B vitamin source, but its primary B vitamin that we're after here is the B4, but it's got liver in it. Well, what do we know? The liver's been touted lately as this wonderful food. Well, this product's been around since 1929. Pretty cool, right? Organic beetroots, nutritional yeast, defatted wheat germ, rice bran, organic carrots, organic sweet potato, and bovine adrenal. People go, well, that doesn't sound like a lot. Right. But isn't it cool? That's what everybody knows what those things are. Like, I didn't say anything foreign, nothing biochemical, nothing that required a degree in how to identify benzene rings and how many there is and how many bonds and double bonds and that are present. So we look at a product and we look at how easily is it created and manufactured, and can we go, you know what? I'd be cool with eating up ground liver in a pill that I could just swallow instead of chewing up liver, because in a modern day America, people are a little bit grossed out by the idea of eating liver. Now, you and I might like to try it, right?
Yes, I want to try it.
Yeah, we should. On the show, we should do it. Mm-hmm. But isn't it interesting that I would say that you and I are of the minority that would consider such factor. Why you want to do that? If you deep fry it, I'll eat it. Well, you just ruined it. That's not the same, right? So we look at this, and this is a product that has the ability to help regulate the rate, rhythm, and tone. Now, B vitamins are not just for the heart. B vitamins are for every cell, tissue, organ, gland in the body, which is why omega-4s and the B vitamins are such an important part of my daily intake. Because your body in a healthy state should manufacture B vitamins, but the B vitamins that we need to be, in today's world, we need to be taking in a regular, healthy dose of B vitamins day in and day out. And this helps every cell at the ATP production level. That is your adenosine triphosphate. That is your cellular money production site. You want cellular energy, Gardy?
I do.
I want that buzz. I want that vibration. I want that vim, vigor, and vip in my cells so that they resonate together, communicate together, they synergize together, they sharpen each other together so that they begin to align together. And what is, birds that, fly together, flock together, fly together, they work together for a greater good of the organism. I want my cells to be those synergistic team players that are pulling their weight, that everybody is doing what they're supposed to do to maximize longevity and vitality, not just in my cardiovascular system, but in my immune system, in my endocrine hormonal balance, in how my body heats up during the morning and the day and calms down and gets ready for sleep during the night, to make sure that all those B vitamins that are critical mass for detoxification during the night. I mean, think about it. We're talking about heart, right? We're talking about how can we maximize the tools. Simply, the liver alone leverages every B vitamin to take a fat-soluble poison, a toxin, something your body can't use, and to convert it into something that you can pee out, sweat out, breathe out, poop out. If you can't make that conversion, it could potentially get stuck in what we call the intermediate phase. That intermediate phase is very toxic. It's even more toxic than leaving it in a fat cell. Because in the intermediate phase, it becomes reckless. They call that free radical. They call those radicals running around violating and destroying and graffitiing all tissues in the body and leaving their mark. And it's causing disruption to all of your mineral base. It's causing your minerals to get flooded from the bones. Now we're setting ourselves up for bone disorders. It's pulling it from the joints. Now we're setting ourselves up for joint joint destruction and accelerated aging in the joint tissues. It's pulling nutrients, minerals from our digestive system and our blood system and our tissue repair systems in order to deal with the inflammation caused from these free radicals. So for every toxin that's released, you lose 2 to 3 minerals through appropriate escorting it out of the body. But if the free radicals are present, it takes even more minerals. So people are walking around minerally deficient. Therefore, they're not going to be electrically active. That is a health problem. So we look at B vitamins as a critical piece of the plan when we're looking at overall health, vitality, especially your cardiovascular function. Again, rate and rhythm are what we're focused on. That lub-dub, very strong lub, first sound, and 1/3 as intense as the first. The lub, the S2 sound, your second sound. The dub, we want to make sure that lub-dub. It's that impact, that rate, rhythm, that making sure everything is in appropriate balance and unison. But what happens when we eat too many carbohydrates? We lose B vitamins. What happens when we eat too much sugar? How many people ate chocolate to their heart's content yesterday? How many people ate too many Smarties? How many people ate too much sugar, pie, whatever they felt like they needed to consume to gratify their, the serpent in their belly, so to speak, right? For every, sugar that they consumed yesterday, their B vitamins took a hit. And so what happens is we have foods that when we overeat carbs, when we overeat sugar, that rob our body of these key nutrients. So we just talked about processed food can, with the bad fats, can dysregulate our omega-6 to omega-3 ratio that could cause heart dysfunction. We just talked about how carbohydrates over intake and the refining of these nutrients that go into these fake foods begin to rob our body of our own demands of B vitamins, and these B vitamins then can't regulate the rate and the rhythm of the heart, and amongst other things. We have to start being aggressive in how we're fighting back against what we're being exposed to in the elements from toxicity and what we're lacking in soil. Because many people still today are not consuming vegetables in an appropriate ratio. They eat 3 vegetables a week, they maybe 4 vegetables a week, and they call that good. Well, it's better than none, I suppose. But if you put just enough, money in your bank account to get through the week, but you got to get through the month, well, then you're always behind and you become in debt. Well, you can become nutritionally in debt, and that nutritionally in debt leads to symptom patterns. Those symptom patterns over time cause bankruptcy, and then all of a sudden you have disease patterns. And autoimmunity of the heart is your modern-day afibrillation. We have a lot of people that have been dealing with AFib, and medicine today has no real cure for AFib other than shock treatment of the heart or ablations and very aggressive barbaric procedure. Last time I checked, shock therapy is pretty painful and probably not the best way to work on something that's a nutritional issue. And it is a nutritional issue. And there is an electrical component, but it's the lack of nutrients not present that drives the electrical capacitors that help regulate the electrical impulses that help regulate the power pumping faction of the heart. And so we got to look at these different parts of the game when we're evaluating our temple. We got to make sure our heart and our body is working efficiently. So these are just 2 great ideas that if you incorporated this year, you would find yourself in a very, very good space. How about that? Just for 2 ideas. Who wouldn't want it?
I think everybody would want it, right?
Wow. It's amazing. Sometimes people don't know that they need it or want it. Let's jump into Cardio Plus. This is another goodie. So Cardio Plus is a fun product because Cardio Plus incorporates the ideas of the B vitamins, and it incorporates the idea of heart muscle support. We want to feed the heart itself and make sure that the heart is getting a reconditioning, a refurbishing, a fresh new paint job, if you will, a new flooring inside the house, a remodeling of the kitchen or the bathroom, and making sure that it's working adequately. But when you look at the ingredients, we've got heart tissue, we've got liver tissue as the first two ingredients, we've got stomach tissue, why would stomach be present in the heart? Again, upregulate digestion, improve the opportunity for absorption. Pretty brilliant, right? If you take it in, but you can't absorb it, you're no better off than not taking it at all. And so we got to make sure that we are taking in the nutrients that help us maximize absorption of these factors that we're trying to target, because you are taking chemical energy and converting it into electrical energy at the cellular level. We are an electrical being. Your heart beats because it is electrocuted, but it's done in a way that is peaceful, that is designed, that is following its own protocol blueprint. And it's when we have to come in from other outside source angles and disrupt what the body should be able to do on its own, that we find major problems lurking in the shadows. And so again, we should never know that our heart is beating. We look at this product, it's got Spanish moss in it. Whoa, Spanish moss. Well, fantastic product for the liver, fantastic product for the lymphatics. Why would that be in there? Well, we want to maximize the body's ability to get rid of waste. We don't want toxins. We talked about that a moment ago, because the more toxins, the more minerals we lose. If we don't have healthy liver function, the Spanish moss helps liver do its job more effectively. We are disrupting that conversion of toxin into something that our body can get rid of, and that leaves us minerally deprived, and that also puts a strain and stress and acidic burden in the blood. Remember, the lifeblood doesn't want to be acidic. It wants to be balanced out. We look at, it has wheat germ in it. Well, this is where a lot of the B vitamins are found. This has nutritional yeast. This is where a lot of the B vitamins are found. This is where inositol is present. Inositol is another B vitamin. This helps regulate our body's. Every cell needs B vitamins in order to operate. I mean, you're just going to see that when we're talking heart, B vitamins are a critical part of the conversation. Bovine spleen. Wow. This has got a lot of organ products in it. So you're not just eating one organ, we're eating multiple organs every time we take this product, Cardio Plus. This product has vitamin C in it, the complex C that we're looking for, and not at mass dose. It's at a what we call micro dosing, 15, 16, 17 milligrams. Whatever the crop, whatever the organ that consume the crop that we're eating, that we're bringing in. And so we see this, and we see the anti-inflammatory properties. We're seeing that it's got vitamin E that is going to help regulate the essential fatty acid, the inflammation reduction factor. Cardio Plus is just another powerful tool that helps different. I use this product a lot with our blood pressure regulating care plans, because the heart, when you communicate the blueprint messages that are in Cardio Plus to the heart begins to go, oh, that's how I'm supposed to function. Or it's able to figure out, because of the toxicity component, I need to go and deburden the body over here so that I don't have a blood pressure problem. Like, blood pressure is typically an indicator of inflammation. It's not high because there's no rhyme and no reason. It's high because of liver congestion. It's high because of acidity in the blood. It's high because there's an infection. There's something driving the blood pressure. So we want to make sure that we're looking into your care and listening to the plan and figuring out where the deficiency is, where's the blockade, where's the congestion, so that we can address it appropriately. And I think that a simple idea like Cardio Plus. Then we've got its brother product, Cardiotrophin PMG. Cardiotrophin PMG is just heart muscle support. It's going to support the oxygen absorption rate. It's going to support the oxygen production rate. It's going to help the overall musculature of the heart do its job more effectively. The Cardiotrophin PMG has just immense ability when we look at the heart sound machine printout, and we look at the different graphical presence of all your mitral, tricuspid, aortic, and pulmonic valves. We'll see with the Cardiotrophin, the heart sounds are too small. It's like if I need to go 100 yards and I can only get 75, I'm missing the mark. I get some of it done, but not all of it done. The Cardiotrophin will help us go the distance. The Cardiotrophin will help the heart muscles pump at the tonal level that it needs to, that maximizes the muscle exercise. I want that muscle to be strong. So when I see a weak S1, S2 sound in any of the valves, I know that the cardiac muscle itself needs a little bit of nourishment, straight up food. And so I'm going to give it a steak dinner if I can. And that's what Cardiotrophin is, its ability to do whenever we put it in the body. The other thing I'll say about both Cardiotrophin and Cardio Plus is they also are two products that have naturally occurring CoQ10. Now, CoQ10, we have found, has an amazing impact in the regulation of homocysteine, regulation of O2, and in the mitochondria, the production. It's a major contributing factor to the energy money, the ATP production that is necessary. And so I don't know of other products that aren't food-based that have naturally occurring CoQ10. CoQ10 is very anti-inflammatory, and it is very necessary in overall functionality cardiovascularly. So that's why CoQ10, 300 milligrams in one capsule, is something that we also provide for patients that have a history of heart issues. And so CoQ10 is a part of our game. The one cap, 300 milligrams. I had a lady yesterday. She goes, every time I take it, my hands get warm. I feel like this jolt of energy. It's almost like a little too much. And so with her, we actually take a less dose, 100 milligrams. But most people we find are so deficient, we give them the big punch, and this is just what science has found as a very effective level of anti-inflammation from a cardiovascular perspective. CoQ10 is just amazing. I mean, we should be leveraging, again, even if it's a bottle. I see one bottle of this, so I think there's 30, would be perfect for the February cardiovascular month. So one a day, especially if you're in the exercise arena. I mean, we need faster recovery. We need to make sure that we have plenty of cellular energy, and the CoQ10 has the ability to provide that cellular energy for recovery and that cellular oxygen for recovery, as well as the ATP. I already said the cellular energy. So the CoQ10 is just another key ingredient in the heart game. And then last but not least, we got to jump into at least one herb. One of my faves. There's several of them, but hawthorn is a powerful tool in regulating body temp. It's another one of these factors that if you're running cold, it has an impact on all aspects of heart and thyroid. The hawthorn opens up the arteries, so it gets more nutrients to tissues. And it slows down the delivery. So, or what I mean by that is, as the nutrients are coming down to the tissues, the vessels are a little bit more wide open in diameter, so that the tissues have the ability to absorb the nutrients. If you just whip past at 80 miles an hour and you throw, a nutrient out, well, the tissue might not have time to grab it because you missed the mark. But if you slow down, pull in to the docking bay, drop off the nutrient to their door, they're more likely to take it up, right? So the hawthorn allows for better nutritional delivery. It opens up the arteries, and it warms up the body. It increases metabolic activity. And I use this product, a part of what we call the cardiovascular clot factor. So it helps to regulate the thickness of the blood when it's too thick. We can thin it down a little bit. as well as the omega force, by the way, is a nice blood thinning effect for people that are worried about blood that take blood thinners that are very toxic and poisonous and inflammatory. The omega fish oils is a blood thinner that is supportive, anti-inflammatory, and overall going to have no negative side effect at all compared to a medicine that is a blood thinner. But the hawthorn is our natural clot reducer. So if you've got a history of clot formation in the arteries, you've had different angio tests where you see the thickening of the carotids or the coronary arteries, you should be on a monthly rotation of one of our herbals, hawthorn being 1, garlic 5,000 being 2, horse chestnut being 3, and then cayenne pepper, if you can handle it, number 4. So that's 4 months that we put people through what we call a clot reducing protocol that helps to just heat the body up and melt down those factors and allow nutrients to kind of sit in and around that wound where the clot is, because that's pretty much what a clot is. It is a inflammatory ulceration in the artery that the body now lays down material that potentially binds or clots up the artery. We need to heal the tissue, and the Band-Aid goes away. You don't need a Band-Aid if you don't have a wound, right?
Right.
But people, we're not taking the time to heal the wound, therefore we have Band-Aids everywhere. And unfortunately, when the Band-Aids are right around the heart, that is a problem. We don't want any vessel to have Band-Aids, but especially the heart, arteries, and venous system. And so when we're looking at how the heart works, it because it's so nutritionally dense, it gets first dibs on all nutrition. And we are leveraging multiple tools in order to figure out where a person's glitches are. So like when you come to our class, we're going to be, talking about the heart sound test and why it's a valuable tool to evaluate once a month, once every 6 weeks, once every 8 weeks, whatever works for your care plan. As you're under care, we're going to know, all right, we need to do this test now, we're going to do this test then, we're going to we'll do this test next time. The goal is to make sure that we're ongoing giving you appropriate testing to measure all aspects of your life so that you can maximize that vitality in your body, and especially during, you can leverage the seasons of life to know when it's time to work on and overhaul a certain body. Now, you don't have to do every one of these products. You could just do, like we talked about earlier, the Omega Force, or you could do the Omega Force and the Cataplex B Core, or you could do the Cardio Plus, which has got B vitamins, vitamin C, and the heart muscle support, the CoQ10, all built into one. I mean, there's so many ways that we just say a little bit of nutrition, especially when it comes to the heart, goes a long way because it gets first dibs on all aspects of what you put in your mouth. Now, unfortunately, it gets first dibs on all things that you put in your mouth. So if you're putting in nothing but sugar and inflammatory substances, you're also potentially sabotaging your heart. We don't want you to do that, as much as we don't want you to sabotage any part of your body. But because we're talking about the power and the impact that heart has on everything in the body, we want to make sure that you have the tools to support you, build you, and love your system towards good health. So there we go. How is that so far?
It's good. This is a lot of good information.
Yeah, it's just
good supplements.
When you have a tool, like we have other cardiovascular tools, and we never know when to. It's hard to talk about all of them, right? But it's nice when we can just kind of package up an idea. Because when we package up an idea, we're able to, all right, let's focus on this for the month. Let's focus on detox for the month. I had patients come in yesterday, and they made it 10 days on the 21-day detox, and they felt amazing. They loved it, and I'm thinking their whole family was involved, and they were able to go 10 days, and everybody enjoyed it. It wasn't a burden or a strain, even to the kids, and they got through it. And I go, look, the reality is even if you just did it once a quarter, that's 40 days out of the year. That's a part of your wellness plan. If you did your temperature check 3 times a day, I mean, everybody's familiar with temperatures these days because everybody's shooting everybody with the little thermometer gun. We might as well look at it for what it really is, because most of the time the temp isn't going to be astronomically elevated like you've got an infection. But what if you're metabolically underperforming? What if you can't hit your weight loss goals because your thyroid doesn't work, and you're taking all the thyroid medications, but really and truly you just need more minerals? You know, if you whip the system one way, but you need to nourish it another, it doesn't matter how much whipping. If there's no nourishment to drive what the whipping is trying to accomplish, then you just can't make the horse go any faster. You know, he's limited. And we want, again, for you to be limitless. We want your body to have the opportunity to, drive healthy, strong function day in and day out, all the days of your life. And nutrition always comes back down to the fundamental backbone. It always has been, always will be. That's why we say it. Nutrition is the fundamental backbone that drives your health onward, upward, goodward, and Godward. But nutrition can be the very poison for what you bring in. It can cause your body to decline and break down, and we don't want that. So if you are struggling with symptoms, if you have heart issues, if you have symptom patterns like arrhythmias, chest pain, tight pressure, heavy anxiety in your chest, if you have shortness of breath, if you're wheezing, air hunger, anything that goes on, deep sternal chest pains that you're not comfortable with in the heart, make an appointment for a heart sound test. Come in, let us evaluate you. Let us figure out which care plan is right for you. What do we need to build in order to maximize your health and your absorption rate so that your body has a fighting chance to fight the inflammation that's coming?
Here's a question. This is from Tammy. Thank you for asking. She said, if you have inflammation, what's the best test to see what is causing it? I've been taking my temperature. It starts at 94.5, but take it along with minerals and see the temp gets closer through the day to 98.
Yeah, so at 94, that is excessively low. The thyroid's not working at all at that level. So as it gets closer to 98, which means it didn't cross over 98, you're still lacking in key minerals. So I would increase mineral force or trace minerals B12 that has some iodine in it, or I'd add bromelain iodine to the mix in order to help upregulate the thyroid. And I would maybe there's some digestive challenges, and we would actually put in and maybe chew the minerals up. As much as I don't love the taste of minerals because they're just minerally, but maybe we've got to enhance the absorption of those minerals. And so I found that for me, when I was looking at all these numbers, it took 6 trace minerals B12 chewed in order to get my temp up within the hour. If I didn't, my hands were cold, my feet were cold. And I still notice it from time to time. And it's a little harder to note, with it being cold outside, if it's the temp. But really and truly, your core temperature, you always should be 98.5.
She said you gave me trace minerals, B12, 3 pills, 4 times a day.
Yeah, so
that's what she's currently doing.
That's a lot. So I would say, okay, and if we start out at 94.5, after a week, are we noticing that we're starting at 95? Are we starting out at 96? Are we starting out at 97? In the morning, I wake up, I'm about 97.6 to 97.8. Within the hour, I'm pushing 98 to 98.3. I find that between 98.4 and 98.5 is where I feel warmth all throughout my body. Like even right now, I wish I had the temp. I'm curious to know, where I'm at the moment, because I'm thinking, ooh, I must have hit a dose. I feel hot, like I'm boiling out of my skin a little bit, and I'm thinking, I didn't think I took any extra trace minerals this morning, but I did take 6.
It's just hot in here, and sometimes.
I did chew it.
Yeah.
And maybe it's hot in here.
Yeah.
You're right. And see, but again, even in and I'm on the radio, and when I'm there's a lot I'm trying to pack into an hour for you guys. But assessing the body, even during the game, helps you maximize performance. And that's one of the things that I want people to be more aggressively doing, is leverage the tools. There's so many things that you can be evaluating. You can look at your tongue. You can look at your ears. You can look at your skin. You can look at your temp. You can assess your pH first thing in the morning. These are things that everybody's got access to. You can do your blood pressure, lying to standing. These are things that we all can do as self-assessment tools, and now we just need to learn the interpretation of these tools. What does it mean whenever your blood pressure drops lying to standing? What does it mean whenever your temp is too low? What does it mean when your pH is off? These are signs and symptoms that your body is overutilizing. So the best test for inflammation is, I would say the simplest test of inflammation is when you wake up in the morning, do you wake up more tired than when you went to bed? Or do you have more joint pain or a low-grade headache in the morning? Those are the three number one symptomatic factors that inflammation is running too high. If we're looking at blood, we look at liver enzymes and we look at high-sensitive CRP and we look at blood sugar and insulin. If those numbers are high, we know that there is, and we look at these on all of our standard tests, these are indicators that there is inflammation in the body. Now, what I find interesting is whenever the blood markers are low, in inflammatory markers, but they have all the symptoms that I just described. They have knee pain, wake up tired in the morning, a little low-grade headache that goes away as the morning progresses. I would, in that case, listen to the symptoms, because the symptoms are the weeds that aren't the disease. The weeds that are easy to pluck than the disease factors that are showing up in the lifeblood. We don't want stuff to show up in the lifeblood. We want to pluck them out as weeds in the form of symptoms. And you go, you know what? The last 3 mornings, I have been feeling worn out. I feel tired, sluggish, beat up, tossing, turning through the night. And, I got that low-grade headache. What I would be doing is opening up the liver at nighttime. Take a little bit of more Spanish black radish. Open up and take some more SP cleanse. Get on some liver force and make sure that you're keeping the liver open so that going into the detox cycle, your liver is supported. If you're hot, tossing and turning during the night, if you're having wicked, wild, bizarre, funky, exotic dreams, I'm supporting the liver. And I'm going to put things that are cooling into the body, like calcium, magnesium, at bedtime. There's things that I'd be doing in the self-assessment. And those are the things we want to teach people, is how to do the assessment and how to support nutritionally what the assessments are revealing. We are and wanting to be your number one health and wellness resource coach when it comes to nutrition, because we believe that the body is constantly communicating. We just don't know how to interpret the signs. So with that, I'm so thankful for all you guys that listen and support us. We love that you subscribe to our shows, that you share them with your friends, family, and loved ones. There's people that need this information, people that can really benefit from the nutritional teaching and training that Living Well offers. We have classes ongoing, or whether it's around food. We had our great Macro Fix class last Thursday night. Went great, fantastic. People loved it, and people are really tuning into the idea that they've got to learn the art of food. They got to get back to the basics. Food is necessary and pivotal, and is the driver of good nutrition in the body. So we got to figure out what real food looks like, what make-believe food looks like, so that we can determine if or not we're going to have real health or make-believe health. We have our cardiovascular class coming up in the next couple weeks, and we want you to be a part of that, because you're worth it. Your health is worth it. Your family believes you're worth it, and you taking the bull by the horns and getting healthy, staying healthy is our number one health initiative, our mission, and we want to teach you all the ins and outs on how to get that done. You will learn a lot of amazing things on how to better care for the heart. And it's more than just what's on this table. These are just ideas that we are promoting for the month to help better your heart. I just wanted to get it out there so that people know that these are available, and we have some cool discounts around it, and we just want you to take advantage of the monthly maintenance programs that your body needs all throughout the year in order to maximize your health, your vitality, and give yourself the gift of life. So Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center says thank you, and God bless you, and y'all have a great week.
This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. Don't forget to go subscribe to the Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center podcast. It's available on all platforms.